Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Angela Vassallo, and it's just awesome to have you here today. So, wherever you are tuning in, if you're going for a walk and listening to this podcast, if you're hearing it in the car, or if you're tuning in from home, welcome. It's fantastic that you're here. I really want to share something important with you today, and it's something that I've been working on for a while. You may know last week I traveled to Houston. I went on a trip where I was going into a mastermind. So I found out about an incredible woman over there who helps people discover what they offer in their business and how to really market that online and attract the right people to your message. And she gave me incredible advice. And I was there for a few days in this mastermind, and it was just amazing. I got so much out of it. Came back to Australia, and I've been putting everything into practice. I'm implementing everything that I've learnt. And today I want to share a few things with you, that some of the tips that I learned along the way, but not only that, something that's actually been created out of everything that I have learnt. So I know it's going to help you. So let's get started. One of the things I want to talk about today is all about, if I could wave a magic wand, how would your life look? What would you want out of your life? And the reason why I say that is because part of what I do, and I know I've mentioned it before, I wrote a very successful book called The Second Wives Guide. And that was all about having functional relationships in a blended family. I was my husband's second wife, and I became a stepmom, and I was helping a lot of women navigate that tricky situation sometimes that can happen when you're part of a blended family. So part of what I do now is the Second Wives Guide is now guiding women through their second act of life. So second act meaning if you're in your 40s or 50s and you're looking to make a change in your life, or you're trying to figure out what's next, I'm going to help you and guide you through that. My goal and my mission is to be able to help you not only design and create and implement, design an incredible superstar lifestyle that you can step into. And the reason why I want to be able to help you achieve that is because of this. When I wrote the book, The Second Wives Guide, women were coming to me asking for advice about how I was able to create this blended family. How were we able to navigate a lot of these tricky situations, and asking for advice? What I'm finding now is that women are in their second act of life. Call it your second season, call it midlife, whatever you want to call it. And they're trying to figure out what's next. I don't know about you, but when I turned 50, I asked myself the question, what's next? I was in a career I had started these restaurants. We were sort of moving out of these restaurants, and I was thinking to myself, it's not really aligning with me right now. I'm wanting something that had a bit more meaning and purpose. You might be in the same situation. You might be asking yourself the same questions. What I'm also finding, and you may find this as well, is that you might be in a season of your life which is very transitional, because you might be finding that the kids are growing up, they're leaving school. This might be their last year, or they may have already left. Maybe the school fees have stopped. Maybe the obligations of you running them around and being the Uber. They've got their own driver's license now. They've got their own hobbies. They're looking after themselves. And you're in this position where you're thinking, wow, a lot of the obligations, responsibilities, and commitments that I once had have changed. They might have stopped. And you might have a bit more time on your hands now, where you're thinking to yourself, well, what's next? What do I really want to do next? And that's the question that I'm finding that most women are asking in their second act. And that's what I'm helping women through. Because I know for me in my career and all the different things that I've done in my life, different careers, different businesses, I know every time I've started something new, I've sat down and asked myself the question, what's next? And what do I want? And how am I going to get there? And put a plan of action to get there, to be able to achieve that. So I want to help women in their second act do exactly the same thing. So if you are in this transitional period right now, I want to ask you this question as well. What if I could wave a magic wand? What if I could wave a magic wand over you right now, and what if I could wave a magic wand right now and you could have anything that your heart desires? You could have your perfect life. I want to ask you, what would that look like? Do you even know what that would look like? And would it surprise you that more than 90% of women in their 40s and 50s do not know what they want. Doesn't surprise me because what we're used to doing is doing so much for everybody else, taking everything on head on and figuring out all of this other stuff for everyone else. And then you get to this point in your life and you're thinking to yourself, well, I've been focusing on all of this for so long. What do I actually really want now? Because you are in this beautiful time of your life where you have the time to figure out what's next. What is it that is going to bring me joy? Hey, you might even want to write a book. You might want to run a marathon. You might want to, you might have an amazing business idea that you've never really had the courage or the time or the ability to be able to step forward and make that happen. You may want to even be an entrepreneur. Maybe this is the time in your life where you could have that. And I want you to start thinking about what is next for you. And gone are the days of aging gracefully. You turn in your 40s and 50s and you go through menopause and you come out the other end and it's like, well, it's time to slow down. And it is not. I really honestly believe that your second act is not a time to slow down. It's a call to action, to actually figure out what you want for the rest of your life. Because think about it. So many women these days that have become successful, who are successful, have become successful in their 40s and 50s. I'll give you a few examples. Look at Viola Davis, an amazing actress. She really did not carve out her path, and success really didn't come to her until she was in her late 40s. And that's when things started to fall into place for her. People say she was an overnight success. Well, that was a very long night for her. She had a whole life of crafting and focusing on her craft and putting herself out there before she was even recognized. How many people would have stayed in that industry for that amount of time before they became successful? Martha Stewart didn't even start her business until she was 49 years old. And then she wrote one of her best-selling books after that. There's so many women out there who have created success in their 40s and 50s. And I just want you to think about what's possible for you. And if you are in this point of life where you're thinking, I would like to be able to achieve a bit more, but I'm not 100% sure, that's what I want you to think about. And I want to help prompt you in these categories. So if you think about this, think about your career, think about your family, think about your friends, think about your health, think about your finances, your lifestyle, and your joy. Now, these categories there usually are what people's values are. And when you start to think about those categories, then you'll start to figure out where you fit on that life circle, that life wheel, and how successful they are and how well you're doing in those areas. And usually that's a good indicator to figure out exactly what you want out of your life in one of those categories. So I created this program called the 5 Ps. It's a 5-piece program to be able to help women in their second act, to be able to prompt them to think about what's next. And the first thing I came up with was number 1, purpose. And we hear a lot about purpose, figuring out your purpose. And many times you go through life, you really don't know what you want in your 20s and your 30s. And usually around your 40s and 50s, you start thinking about, well, what is my purpose? What am I actually here for? And when you think about your purpose, what I want you to think about is declaring your vision and thinking about exactly what do I want? And regularly ask yourself on a daily basis, what do I actually want? You may not have an idea of what you want now, but that's part of the process. It's really important to start to think about that and where you want to go and what you want to do. Do you want to pivot in your career? Do you want to, create a whole new, business for yourself? Do you want to meet a soulmate? Do you want to travel to Italy? Do you want to start cooking classes? Do you want to start training for a marathon? There are so many things that you can do in your life in this time that if you took the time now to figure it out, it will start to unfold for you. So number 1 is purpose. Number 2 is permission. And I grant you permission. I wave that magic wand over you and I grant you permission to think about you, to think about what you want out of your life and to think about what it would be like if I did have it all. Is that possible? Of course it is. Of course, we can have what we want. Why can't we? And I give you permission to start to think about that. What's possible for you? And number 3 is pursue. Start to think about how you can pursue that and take a few action steps into the direction of where you want to go. Sometimes that might mean getting a mentor or a coach. Nothing wrong with that. I've always said the most successful people in the world have mentors and coaches. I've had mentors and coaches all my life. I have become a mentor and coach to so many people as well. And that is really important, to be able to take people's advice and go forward in the direction that they may have already achieved. So it's only going to help you. Why create the wheel? Figure out what you want and then find the people who have already done that to help you succeed. Number 4 is pizzazz. What is it that you've got that is your pizzazz? Something that little bit different that people recognize you for. Something that you're good at, your pizzazz that puts you out there. Something like your unique brilliance. What is it that you've got that nobody else has? And you're probably thinking, well, I don't. Well, I'm telling you now, you do. Everybody has something unique about them, and you have a pizzazz. And that's what we want to find out. And then you're going to step boldly into your new second act with your pizzazz. And number 5 is power. Own who you are. What do you want out of your life? You always know a woman that when she walks in the room, she knows who she is. And that's what I want for you. You step forward and you have your own inner power. Now, when you know who you are, when you know what you want, that becomes your superpower. Knowing who you are. They're the 5 tips that I put together in my 5 Ps program. And that's what I'm teaching a lot of women in their second act, to be able to figure out what they want, put together a game plan, and then start to pursue it and implement that every day. So they become the woman and the best version of themselves that they were meant to be. It's a really powerful thing when you see a woman finally step forward in her power and really own her life. But not only that, figure out exactly what she wants out of this life. And that's a really, really powerful thing. So my 5 Ps that I'm working on at the moment is my new program, and I'm going to be creating a whole new workshop around that. And I have a free webinar coming up in the next few weeks, which I'd love to invite you to, and anyone else who's also in their second act, second season, midlife, looking for more. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a career. It can just be about how they want to live their life. Part of what I'm doing right now is this lifestyle empowerment coaching for women. And I want to really take once a year women on an incredible trip. The first trip we're going to be taking next year is going to be to New York. And we're going to step into the main character of our second act. And we're going to go to Broadway. And we're going to have incredible moments in New York. And we're going to share these together. We're going to have some personal development growth. And we're going to have a conference. And we're going to just have an awesome time. And that is for women who really want to step it up, who want to be able to create that lifestyle for themselves in any area of their lives. It's called a superstar lifestyle. And I really want that for you as well. And you can definitely have it. So what I encourage you to do is go to my website, angelavassallo.com, and join the Second Act community. And there I will be putting out all the different things that I have coming up, and you'll be able to be the first one to find out about it. Click on connect with me, register for anything that I have coming up as well, because I know this is a part of women's lives where they have struggled for years. And I know that I can help so many women achieve that. And together, being a part of extraordinary women doing extraordinary things, you watch yourself grow, you watch your life change, and you'll be able to you'll find new best friends, a whole new life will open up for you. And that's exactly what I want for you. I hope those tips have helped you. And if you jot those down, you start to work on it, I know they're really going to open up a way of thinking that you haven't thought about before. So I really encourage you to do that. Start to ask yourself the question every day, what do I want? And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. But don't forget, click on my website, join the community, and I look forward to seeing you in my community, The Second Act. See you soon. Thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Like I've always said, there are so many podcasts out there that you can listen to, and the fact that you're here listening to this one, I am so grateful. So thank you so much. This podcast is all about taking center stage of your life in your second act. And your second act isn't a time to slow down. It's a call to action. It's your life and it's your rules. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate you. And if you think that anybody would benefit from this, please share and even tag me in at Angela Vassallo and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now.